This film focuses on a construction foreman named Leavonne Cade. That morning, he was gathered with his co-workers before starting their activities. Noel, one of the workers, approached Cade and handed him a lunchbox prepared by his wife. Noel considered Cade to have greatly helped his family by allowing him to work there. Cade then gave words of motivation and encouragement to his team, reminding them to prioritize safety and stay focused at work, as their families were waiting for them at home.
You work hard today, there'll be a bonus for you.
As the head foreman responsible for the workers, Cade then reported to Garcia, the owner of the construction development agency, that the day's work was going according to plan. Jenny Garcia, the only daughter of her parents Joe and Carla, vented her frustration to Cade. She was upset because, on her special day, she had planned a semester-end celebration with her friends. Her father, overhearing this, mildly protested, feeling that Jenny should be more appreciative of her parents' sacrifices in always fulfilling her needs. Even her mother supported Joe's words, especially considering the significant amount Jenny had spent. However, despite all that, Joe still supported his daughter's wish by giving her a credit card, albeit with a reasonable spending limit.
What is it? Is it for your wedding or something?
No, it's for tonight. We finished the semester, so we're gonna celebrate.
Cade, who witnessed the conversation, could only smile, but his attention was soon diverted when he saw a car full of debt-collecting thugs entering the construction area. The thugs approached Noel and attempted to assault him over an unresolved issue. Cade tried to stop the violence at the construction site, but the thugs ignored his warning. That enraged Cade, and he brutally beat them all down, leaving them thinking they would never dare return to the site.
Get out of here. Don't come back.
Noel, amazed by Cade's actions, began to wonder who he really was, but Cade chose not to answer and simply told Noel to get back to work. After the incident, Jenny approached Cade and brought him lunch. The Garcia family knew that Cade usually only brought simple meals like canned tuna and peanut butter every day. Jenny was also curious about what had just happened and asked Cade about his seemingly military-like skills. Cade simply said it wasn't a big deal and asked Jenny not to talk about it. Jenny promised to keep it a secret. Later that evening, after work, Cade visited the house where his daughter Mary lived with her grandfather, Dr. Rutt. Mary was thrilled to see her father, but the same couldn't be said for her grandfather. Since Mary's mother passed away, Dr. Rutt had had a strained relationship with Cade. Rutt had always tried to gain full custody of Mary. In fact, on Cade's visitation day, Rutt deliberately threw a birthday party for Mary to prevent Cade from taking her out.
Oh, I know. You want to strike me. You're an unsafe parent. You're a killer. You can't pretend that you're not.
Cade was tempted to punch Rutt, but he realized it was a trap. Rutt wanted Cade to act aggressively so he could use it as evidence that Cade was unfit to raise Mary. Realizing that, Cade chose to leave, especially since Mary was already waiting in the car. She preferred to spend the day with her father.
Okay. Let's go.
At a modest diner, Cade gave Mary a gift, a photo of her and her mother from when she was a child. Mary was very happy, but also angry at her mother for leaving them. Cade explained that it was normal to feel that way, as he too felt the same.
Dad, can I tell you something?
Anything.
I'm mad at Mama for dying and leaving us.
It's okay. I heard too.
After dinner with his daughter, Cade met with his lawyer, David, to discuss Rutt's actions, especially how he had deliberately thrown Mary's birthday party on Cade's visitation day. David explained that Rutt's lawyer had submitted additional documents to the court, accusing Cade of suffering from incurable PTSD due to a brain injury from his military service. That could make him appear prone to violence if his condition were to relapse. Because of that, they were requesting Cade's visits to be supervised and the duration reduced from 2 hours to just 1 hour per week. Cade was furious upon hearing the accusation. He felt that his service to the country was now being used as a reason to keep him away from his daughter. He then handed David $10,000 from his savings to help him fight Rutt's lawyer. Cade also revealed that Rutt might deeply hate him because he blamed Cade for his daughter's death. In truth, Cade's wife had died by suicide while he was deployed overseas, as she was suffering from severe depression at the time. David began to understand Rutt's hatred toward Cade, but he was unsure if he could help effectively, especially since the court would also take into account Cade's living conditions, as he was currently residing in his car. However, for Cade, the most important thing was being able to stay with his daughter. David could help him, although it would cost Cade a considerable amount of money to win the custody battle. With a bit of advice from David, Cade began looking for temporary housing to meet the court's requirements. Even though the place he found was far from ideal, he did his best. Meanwhile, Jenny and her friends had arrived at one of the city's nightclubs to celebrate their end-of-semester party. Inside the club, they enjoyed each other's company, drinking and dancing on the dance floor. However, without their knowledge, a group of people was watching them from afar with malicious intent. After spending time at the club, Jenny and her friends went to a bar to unwind after the loud music, although Jenny was still in decent condition. Despite drinking a lot, one of her friends felt nauseous and hurried to the restroom. Jenny accompanied her. Seeing her friend in such a messy state, Jenny offered to go back to their table to get her makeup. However, when she exited the restroom, a man named Viper was waiting for her, with the intention of abducting her. 2 days had passed since the incident. Cade was shocked by the news of Jenny's disappearance on Friday night after going out partying. By Saturday night, Joe had contacted the police because Jenny hadn't returned home. However, according to the police report, Jenny was detected playing a piano recital on Sunday night. If there were still no leads within 5 days, only then would the police take further action. Joe and Carla had asked their extended family for help in searching for Jenny, including contacting a cousin who was a police captain. Unfortunately, since it wasn't his jurisdiction, the cousin couldn't do much. Their only real hope was Cade, as they believed only he had the ability to find Jenny.
Here, it's 50. Come on, just take it, man. I'm sorry. I'm a different person now.
They offered $50,000 plus an additional $20,000 as a reward for his help. However, Cade declined the offer, saying he was no longer the man he used to be.
Don't kill me. I've got stakes. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I want you dead, you'd be dead.
Soon after, Cade went to a remote location to meet an old friend, Gunny, who lived deep in the wilderness. Gunny was happy to see Cade again, even though he was now nearly 90% blind. However, due to his constant training and military experience, his blindness was not a weakness that held him back. Gunny quickly understood why Cade had come and advised him to act wholeheartedly, without hesitation. He emphasized that Cade didn't need anyone's permission to do what he had already decided to do. The next day, Cade met Joe at his house. Joe was still heartbroken over Jenny's disappearance. Cade reminded him of the past, when his wife died, and he decided to retire from the military. That decision had disappointed many people and caused them to drift away from him, but Joe, Carla, and Jenny continued to care for him. Because of that, Cade promised to bring Jenny back home.
I'm gonna bring her home. I promise.
Cade began his search at the bar, the last place Jenny had been seen. He started observing and monitoring the bar owner, Johnny, hoping to find some clues. He also secretly planted a GPS tracker on Johnny's car to find out where he lived. Johnny was shocked when Cade showed up at his house, aiming a rifle straight at him. Johnny asked who Cade was and why he dared enter his house armed. Calmly, Cade replied that he was looking for a girl who went missing at Johnny's bar, but Johnny shrugged it off, saying he'd already answered the police's questions and had no reason to respond to Cade.
The girl. The missing girl.
I told the cops. He ran off, drunk or something.
Get the fuck.
Realizing Johnny wasn't going to cooperate, Cade covered his face with a wet cloth, forcing him to tell the truth. Eventually, Johnny confessed that the people who had taken Jenny were on a completely different level, and that if he made the wrong move, his entire family would be targeted.
No, these guys are next level. They wipe out entire fucking bloodlines.
Just know you're giving me names. You expecting company?
However, before Cade could extract more information, Johnny suddenly shouted for his associates. Several men rushed in to attack Cade. After a fierce fight, Cade killed all 3 men. He then examined the tattoos on their bodies and discovered that he was now dealing with a Russian mafia group. Cade continued to keep watch over Johnny's house, knowing that more people would soon show up after hearing of Johnny and his crew's deaths. Not long after, a man named Wolo Kolishnik arrived with 2 of his subordinates, Danya Karsenko and Vanko Karsenko.
Why they shoot each other? This is very unprofessional.
Maybe he talk crazy and then it's bang bang time. Bang bang time. Your head.
They entered Johnny's house and were hit with a harsh reality. Their $100,000 had gone up in flames along with Johnny and his crew. They couldn't believe someone had dared to challenge them, but after seeing the evidence, they began to wonder who could be bold enough to go against their gang. Shortly afterward, the 3 of them left Johnny's house, unaware that Cade was tailing them from a distance. From afar, Cade surveilled Wolu's house using a thermal camera to see who was inside. At that moment, Wolu was only with his wife, but they were having a small argument, prompting her to leave the house to blow off steam. Cade seized the opportunity, sneaking into the house and restraining Wolu in order to extract information from him.
Hope you don't mind. I was hungry. We can have a little chat. But if you can't control your volume...
Even tied to a chair, Wolu was bold enough to threaten Cade, asking if he even knew who he was dealing with. Wolu claimed to be a leader of a Russian gang called Berry Zakoni, one of the most feared crime groups in the UK, but Cade remained unfazed. He was used to dealing with Russian gangsters and their shady dealings. Cade made it clear. He didn't care about Wolu's money or dirty business. He had one goal, to find a girl who went missing in the area where Wolu ran his operations.
Fuck you! Here's your money. I don't care about your business. I'm looking for a young lady. A 19-year-old girl was kidnapped.
Upon hearing this, Wolu became enraged. He immediately blamed his son, Dimmy, suspecting that he was behind this mess. Furiously, Wolu even cursed his own son, claiming that Dimmy's actions had dragged him into trouble.
What do you want? A girl. I'm not selling her. I'm gonna bring her home. Fuck you! Okay, we're done.
After getting the information he needed, recorded in Russian for later translation, Cade now had one new name to pursue. Wolu's death enraged Simon Karsenko, another gang leader who couldn't sit idly by. However, he remained unsure about the killer's motive, as it seemed money wasn't the primary reason. To Simon, Wolu had been a respectable man, unlike his son Dimmy, who preferred partying over hard work. Dimmy's behavior had long been a disappointment to him. Now Simon ordered his 2 sons to hunt down the man who killed Wolu so they could avenge their family's honor.
Find this man and bring him to me.
Meanwhile, where Jenny was being held captive, Artemis brought her food to ensure she remained in good condition before being handed over to their client. Jenny lashed out in anger, but a gun pressed to her neck silenced her instantly. She didn't dare say another word.
Take your fucking food.
Cade contacted his police friend Andre to gather information about Dimmy and his possible involvement in the Russian criminal network in the city. Cade suspected Dimmy was involved in human trafficking, and he hoped Andre could dig something up in the police database. Andre warned him that this was a dangerous case and that he couldn't promise much. However, he gave Cade one lead, a bar named Hedis in the Joliet area, a known hangout for Russians to get their drugs. Cade might be able to find something there. That night, Cade went to Hedis. Meanwhile, in the bar's CCTV room, Artemis, the man who had kidnapped Jenny, was approached by Scott, who was curious about what Artemis had been up to. Artemis firmly told Scott to stay out of his business. Then, he noticed someone new entering the bar for the first time. Through the bar's advanced CCTV system, he spotted a .38 caliber pistol tucked into the man's waistband. Suspecting the man to be a cop, Artemis immediately ordered Scott to approach him. Scott made his way over to Cade, but Cade, realizing the man beside him was someone important in the bar, calmly pulled out a wad of cash to buy the information he needed.
Follow me.
Cade was then taken to meet Dutch, the leader of a biker gang who also acted as a broker in the trade of a drug known as blue glass. Dutch immediately asked if Cade was a cop, as no police were allowed in his bar.
Are you a cop?
No. You heard the man. Put her on the table. I didn't come here to be disrespected.
Even after Cade insisted he wasn't, Dutch remained skeptical and ordered his men to search Cade's pockets.
Let's play.
When one of his men nearly got killed in the scuffle, Dutch called off the fight. He apologized for overreacting, especially after noticing the rough, calloused hands of Cade. To Dutch, those were the hands of a working man. Still, from the way Cade fought, Dutch realized he was no ordinary guy. His past must have been violent.
I heard you're in the buying mood.
I'm looking for blue glass. I need weight. Regular.
Curious, Dutch asked what Cade really wanted. Cade replied that he wanted a large amount of blue glass. He chose Dutch because his previous contact in Chicago had gone dark, and he didn't want to waste time negotiating. Time is money, after all. After thinking it over, Dutch agreed. He told Cade to meet him the next morning at a diner at the highway crossroads north of the city at 10 a.m. to pick up the goods. The next day, Cade went to the location. But instead of Dutch, he met Artemis and Scott, who didn't hand over the drugs immediately. Instead, they gave Cade a phone and instructed him to retrieve the goods himself.
You got something for me?
We don't know who the fuck you are, brother.
That's it. Fucking asshole.
Soon after, the phone rang. It was Dutch. He told Cade that the drugs were under his control, and he should keep the phone because a major deal was coming that would fulfill his request. But Cade had to wait for further instructions.
I guess he's gonna be a princess for a night.
Meanwhile, Viper and Artemis were transporting Jenny to meet Nestor Serra, a billionaire who frequently purchased women abducted by their network. Dimi, their boss, was the mastermind behind the operation.
Take her in the back.
Before handing Jenny over, they sedated her and stuffed her into a suitcase. But as Nestor opened it to check the merchandise, Jenny woke up and viciously bit his left cheek, drawing blood all over his shirt.
She bit me. I'm so sorry, sir. I want her out!
During his search, Cade got another call from Dutch. Dutch asked if Cade's clients were satisfied with the product and said the blue glass deal could now move to the next level.
Yeah, this came stuff for everyone.
Bring your money. Wear a suit.
I don't have a suit.
Because these motherfuckers are as high powered as it gets.
However, Dutch advised Cade to dress well. He would be meeting influential people who could buy power itself for their benefit. The next day, Cade arrived at a fancy restaurant to meet Dutch and a man named Dimi, the very person he'd been hunting. To conceal his identity, Cade introduced himself as William Coach. He knew these people would investigate his background before doing business. After a while, Dimi seemed convinced Cade wasn't suspicious. He gave Cade more blue glass and told him to only send a rabbit emoji art if he wanted another deal.
Next bunny rabbit emoji. Now you leave and don't look back.
Not by me.
As before Cade disposed of the drugs, he wasn't here for deals. He was here for Jenny. Still lacking clear leads, Cade scoured Jenny's social media accounts and noticed a man who kept appearing in her photos. Something about him seemed off. He checked Johnny's old phone for connections between the man and Jenny and discovered that he was linked to Bar Hedis. Cade began surveillance outside the bar, but Artemis spotted him via CCTV. He immediately contacted the Karsenko brothers and told them their target was outside.
He's in a black Dodge Ram hiding in the trees.
Okay, we're pulling up now. Right here, right here.
Realizing he'd been made, Cade tried to escape, stealing a motorcycle parked nearby, but it was shot, causing him to crash into a police car that just happened to be there. Unfortunately, help did not come. These officers were corrupt, on the payroll of the Russian gangsters. The Karsenko brothers captured Cade and began interrogating him, asking if he felt any guilt for the men he'd killed and how he knew Dimmy. They planned to torture him to death. But even while tied up, Cade fought back. He managed to crash the van into a river, drowning his captors.
You want me to be scared? You gotta try.
News of the Karsenko brothers' death quickly reached Simon Sart, their father. His fury erupted. His 2 sons had been killed brutally. Simon vowed to get revenge, even if it meant going to hell and back. After the incident, Viper and Artemis met with Dimmy, who was furious because his client had to get stitches on his cheek due to the incident with Jenny. Dimmy hadn't built his business to be mocked or to deal with violence. He always tried to keep his promises to clients to ensure smooth operations. But because of Viper's mistake, he had just lost $200,000. Dimmy warned them to fix the mess quickly before he ran out of patience.
Not fight fucking face off. No, fuck off! Fucking off, sir.
Holy shit, he was pissed. Come on, man, need to stoop a little bit.
Meanwhile, Simon attended a meeting with the higher-ups of the gangster organization. They discussed the devil, who had killed 2 soldiers and a captain in their group. Those 2 soldiers were Simon's own sons, and he would not let their deaths be in vain. Osinski, one of the gang leaders, asked Simon about Dimmy's whereabouts. He suspected Dimmy might have information about the devil they were hunting. As a show of support, Osinski assigned his 2 best hitmen to help Simon in the manhunt.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Now go.
Simon and the hitmen immediately went to the nightclub where Dimmy was staying. Upon arriving, Simon fired a shot into the air, silencing the music and drawing everyone's attention. Dimmy was shocked to see his father arrive, burning with rage, especially after learning that Simon's sons had been killed by someone Dimmy had recently done business with. Although he had only met Cade for 5 minutes, Dimmy still had the data from Cade's ID card that he had checked before the transaction. He handed it over to Simon as a lead to find the man he was after.
He's hunting you.
After successfully hacking into the government database, the hitmen finally tracked down Cade's residence. They approached it with the intention of giving him a warning. He had chosen the wrong enemy. Meanwhile, on the road, Cade received a call from the school, informing him that his daughter had not been picked up by her grandfather. Worried, Cade rushed to the school. However, he began to question why her grandfather hadn't shown up.
Good day. Let's go.
Mary admitted that she had repeatedly tried to call him, but her calls had gone unanswered.
You didn't kill him, did you? Dad, I'm kidding.
Realizing this, Cade suspected the Russian gangsters were behind it. He believed they wanted to hurt the people connected to him. Cade also feared that his father-in-law might be in trouble, and his suspicions proved true when he saw Rutt's house on fire. Inside, Rutt was tied up and badly beaten. After rescuing him, the old man immediately asked Cade, "Who are these people? Are they Russian mafia?" He believed that if Cade hadn't stirred trouble, he wouldn't have been dragged into any of this. Mary, seeing her grandfather, defended her father. "You should be thanking Dad. He could have left you in there."
You should go to the hospital. Cops can't stop them.
We'll figure it out later. Thank you.
Cade apologized for what happened and suggested Rutt go to the hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, he planned to take Mary away from the city to a safer place until the storm passed. Soon after, they arrived at Gunny's house. While Mary stayed inside with Gunny's wife, Gunny met Cade outside to ask what was really going on. He also wanted to know if Cade had found the girl he was looking for. Cade explained that the enemy he was up against was the Russian mafia, a powerful force in the city. That meant the search would take longer. Hearing that, Gunny understood the situation and decided to help. He showed Cade his private collection of weapons stored in his shed. Among all the weapons, Cade chose a long-range rifle he had used during his military days as his main tool to fight the Russian gangsters.
We did some righteous shit, brother.
Yeah, we did.
What's in there?
None of your business.
Can I come?
Absolutely not.
What about school?
It was a couple of days. At most.
Before leaving, Cade told his daughter to stay with Gunny and his wife until his job was done. He promised to come back for her and asked her to behave well while staying with them.
Love you.
Daddy, I don't want you getting hurt.
I'll be back soon. Okay.
Meanwhile, Viper and Artemis were on their way to a location where they planned to kill Jenny, who had caused them so much trouble. However, during the trip, Jenny suddenly fought back and managed to escape. She ran through the dark woods until she came across some police officers passing by. Jenny asked for help, not realizing that the officers were part of the Russian gang. As a result, she was captured again by Viper and Artemis.
I'm so fucking sorry.
Listening?
Just as they were about to kill Jenny in the forest, they received a call from Nestor. Nestor ordered them to bring Jenny to a farmhouse where Dimmy was hiding. At that moment, Dimmy was enjoying time with an escort under heavy guard. Cade had tracked down the location and started taking out Dimmy's guards one by one.
I figured that.
When he finally confronted Dimmy, the man looked at him curiously and asked why he would kill so many people just to save one woman. Cade replied, "I made a promise to always stand by her. If she's in trouble, it's my job to help her." Hearing that, Dimmy gave a slight smile and pleaded with Cade not to kill him. In return, he would give him the address where Jenny was being held. Not only that, Dimmy offered to come with Cade to the place himself.
You know this guy?
Of course I know he's Viper. Why you do all this for a whore?
Say it again. She's in there?
When they arrived at the location, Cade turned to Dimmy and asked, "Why did you do all of this? And why did it have to be Jenny you kidnapped?" Dimmy explained that Viper's job was to take photos of the girls at the nightclub and send them to him. Then, Dimmy would pass those photos on to his clients, who would choose the girl they wanted. Hearing this, Cade was furious. "They're human beings, not objects to be sold." He then asked, "Do you have a daughter? If not, then you'll never understand how I feel."
No. Then you won't understand.
Meanwhile, at Hedda's bar, Dutch received word that someone working against them had massacred most of the Russian gang members and was now on their way to the farmhouse. Enraged, Dutch immediately ordered his men to move out and eliminate the one who dared interfere with their operations. Back at the farmhouse, Cade snuck in quietly, searching for Jenny. Nestor was inside an old operating room, preparing to kill Jenny slowly as punishment for what she had done. But before he could begin, a grenade explosion cut him off.
What the fuck was that?
Dutch, who had just arrived, commanded his men to hunt down Cade. After a fierce battle, Cade managed to kill Dutch and all his men, then made his way deeper into the house to find Jenny.
How dare you come in here?
A bullet struck Nestor, knocking him back. As for Viper, who was all talk and no real skill, he was easily taken down by Cade.
The fuck? Relax!
At the same time, the two hitmen sent by Simon had also arrived at the farmhouse. They acted with brutal force, even opening fire on police officers who had just arrived at the scene. After taking down all his enemies, Cade left behind his long-range rifle as a final tribute to his past. He and Jenny then rode away on a motorcycle taken from one of their enemies. Meanwhile, Simon could only watch as the man who had killed his sons rode off with the girl, unable to stop him. He called Osinski and reported that the devil had survived and taken the girl with him. Osinski replied to Simon, "Call off the hunt. The devil got what he came for. It's better you let the past go, because you won't win against him. Brotherhood is more important than your personal revenge." Simon could only accept the harsh reality, filled with burning rage, unsure if he could ever live with it. Cade finally brought Jenny back to her home. Jenny's parents welcomed her with tears of joy. Carla and Joe also thanked Cade for rescuing her. Before the story ended, Cade reunited with his daughter at Gunny's house. Mary was overjoyed that her father kept his promise and came back. Gunny, seeing Cade return safely, smiled and said, "Welcome home."
You found that girl.
I found her.
Welcome back, brother.
Thank you for watching this story recap. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.